My son left me alone. The old wooden chair by the window is empty now, and that is the first thing I see every morning. My son, my dear son, left me alone last week, and the house feels very big and very quiet. I remember the day he left. The sun was bright in the sky. The birds were singing in the tall green tree in our garden. Everything outside was happy. But inside our house, it was a sad day. My son came into the kitchen. He had a big bag with him. The bag was blue. It was his favorite color. He put the bag on the floor. The bag made a small sound on the wooden floor. Thump. It was a quiet sound, but it felt very loud in the quiet room. He looked at me. His eyes were kind. He is a good boy. He has always been a good boy. He said, "Mother, it is time for me to go." I looked at his face. He was not a little boy anymore. He was a man. He had a beard. It was a small beard. He was tall. He was taller than me. He was taller than his father. I remember when he was a little boy. He was so small. I could hold him in my arms. Now he is a big man and he is leaving. I did not cry. My eyes were wet, but I did not cry. I wanted to be strong for him. I smiled a small smile. I said, "Yes, son, it is time." We stood in the kitchen for a long time. We did not talk, we just stood there. The clock on the wall made a soft sound. Tick, tock, tick, tock. It is an old clock. It was my mother's clock. Now it is my clock. It always makes that sound, but on that day the sound was very clear. Tick, tock, it was the sound of time moving. It was the sound of my son growing up and leaving. Then he hugged me. His arms were strong. He held me tight. I could feel his heart. It was beating fast. Maybe he was sad too. Maybe he was scared. Starting a new life is a big thing. He said, "I will call you, Mother. I will call you every week." I said, "I know you will. You are a good son." He let me go. He picked up his blue bag from the floor. The bag looked heavy. It had his clothes. It had his books. It had his whole life in it. He walked to the front door. I walked with him. Every step was slow. Every step was heavy. The floorboards made a small noise under our feet. Creak, creak. We reached the front door. He opened it. The bright sun came into the dark hallway. It made me close my eyes for a moment. When I opened them, he was standing outside on the step. He turned and looked at me one more time. He smiled. It was a good smile, a real smile. "I love you, Mother," he said. "I love you too, my son," I said. Then he walked away. He walked down the little path from our door. The path has small white stones on it. I heard his shoes on the stones. Crunch, crunch, crunch. He walked to his car. It is a small car. It is a red car. He bought it with his own money. He was very proud of that car. He opened the car door. He put his blue bag on the seat next to him. Then he sat in the driver's seat. He started the car. The engine made a soft sound. Vroom. He looked at me through the car window. He waved his hand. I waved my hand back. I stood at the open door and waved. He drove the car down the street. The red car got smaller and smaller. It turned the corner at the end of the street, and then it was gone. I could not see it anymore. I stood at the door for a long time. The street was empty. The sun was still bright. The birds were still singing. But my son was not there. He was gone. Finally, I closed the front door. The door made a loud sound. Click. The sound said, "You are alone now." I walked back into the house. The house was so quiet. It was a new kind of quiet. It was an empty quiet. I walked into the kitchen. I saw 2 cups on the table. One cup was my cup. It is white with a pink flower on it. The other cup was his cup. It is a big blue cup. He always used the big blue cup for his morning tea, but he was not here to drink his tea. I picked up his cup. It was cold. I washed the cup and put it away in the cupboard. I will not use that cup now. It is his cup. I sat down at the kitchen table. I looked at his empty chair. It is just a wooden chair, but it was his chair. He sat there every morning for breakfast. He sat there every evening for dinner. We talked in those chairs. He told me about his day. I told him about my day. Now the chair is empty. The house is full of empty things. His empty chair, his empty room. His empty space next to me on the sofa when we watched television. The first day was the hardest. Every sound made me think he was here. I heard a noise outside and I thought, oh, that is my son coming home. But it was not him, it was just the wind, or a cat. Or a neighbor. I made lunch for myself. I took 1 plate from the cupboard, only 1 plate. Before, I always took 2 plates. I put a small piece of bread on my plate. I put some cheese on the bread. It was a small lunch for 1 person. I ate alone at the kitchen table. The silence was my friend at lunch. I could hear my own chewing. It was a strange sound. After lunch, I went to his room. I opened the door slowly. The room was clean. He made his bed before he left. The blue blanket was very neat. His books were on the shelf. His old wooden desk was empty. He took his computer with him. I walked to the window. I looked out at the garden. He used to play in that garden. I remember him as a little boy. He had a red ball. He would kick the ball in the garden. He would laugh. It was a happy sound. I could almost hear his laugh in the quiet room. I touched his desk. It was smooth and cold. I saw a piece of paper on the floor. It was a small drawing, a drawing of a house and a sun. He made that drawing a long time ago. I picked it up. I smiled. I put the small drawing in my pocket. It was a small piece of him. I stayed in his room for a long time. I just stood there. I looked at his things. His old posters on the wall, a picture of a famous singer, a picture of a fast car. They were boy things. My boy was a man now. I closed the door to his room. I did not want to see the empty room all day. In the evening, I made dinner. I cooked some vegetables and some rice, just a small amount. I ate my dinner while watching the television. The people on the television were laughing and talking. They were company for me, but they were not real company. After dinner, I washed my 1 plate and my 1 fork. It was very fast. Before, there were always more dishes to wash. I had a cup of tea. I sat in my big chair in the living room. I read my book, but I did not read many words. My eyes looked at the words, but my mind was in another place. My mind was with my son. I wondered, is he okay? Is his new home nice? Is he happy? I knew he was a strong man. I knew he would be okay. But a mother always worries. The clock on the wall continued its soft sound. Tick, tock, tick, tock. The sound filled the quiet house. It was the only sound. That night I went to bed. My bed felt too big. The house was dark and quiet. I closed my eyes. I thought about my son. I thought about his new life, and I fell asleep. The next morning, I woke up. The sun was shining. For a moment, I forgot. I thought I need to make breakfast for my son. Then I remembered. He is not here. I am alone. The sadness came back. It was a small, quiet sadness. It sat with me at the kitchen table. I had my breakfast, one piece of toast, one cup of coffee. I looked at his empty chair. I said, "Good morning, empty chair." It felt silly to talk to a chair, but it made me feel a little better. I decided to work in the garden. The garden needed me. The flowers were thirsty. The weeds were growing. I put on my old shoes and my garden gloves. I went outside. The air was fresh. The sun was warm. I pulled the weeds. I gave water to the flowers. The red flowers, the yellow flowers, the white flowers. Working with the earth made me feel calm. My hands were dirty. My back was a little tired, but my heart felt a little lighter. I worked for many hours. I did not think about the empty house. I only thought about the flowers and the sun and the earth. When I finished, the garden looked beautiful. It was clean and happy. I felt a little proud. I went inside and washed my hands. I made lunch, one sandwich, one apple. I ate at the table and looked out the window at my beautiful garden. In the afternoon, the telephone rang. It made a loud sound in the quiet house. Ar-rar-ring. Ar-rar-ring, my heart jumped. Maybe it was him. I walked quickly to the telephone. I picked it up. "Hello," I said. "Hello, Mother, it's me." It was his voice. My son's voice. I was so happy to hear him. My sadness went away. "Hello, my dear son, how are you?" I asked. We talked for a long time. He told me about his new apartment. It was small, but it was nice. He told me about his new job. It was difficult, but it was interesting. He asked me, "How are you, Mother? Are you okay?" I told him, "Yes, I am okay. I worked in the garden today. It looks very beautiful." I did not tell him I was sad. I did not tell him the house was too quiet. I wanted him to be happy, not worried about me. We talked about small things: the weather, the neighbors, my cat. My cat, a fluffy white cat named Snow, was sleeping on a chair. He was good company. He did not talk, but he was a warm, living thing in the quiet house. My son said, "I have to go now, Mother. I will call you again next week." "Okay, my son, be good. Eat well," I said. "I will, Mother. I love you," he said. "I love you too," I said. And then he was gone. The line was quiet. I put the telephone down. I felt much better. He was okay. He was happy. And he called me. He did not forget me. I smiled a real smile. The house was still quiet. But it was not a sad quiet anymore. It was a peaceful quiet. I knew that this was the new way. This was my new life. My life as a mother of a grown man who lives far away. In the days after that, I made a new routine. I wake up. I have my breakfast. I talk to the empty chair just for fun. I work in my garden. I read my books. I go for a walk down the street. I say hello to my neighbors. They are kind people. An old man, Mr. Henderson, lives next door. Sometimes we talk over the fence. He tells me about his flowers. I tell him about my flowers. Another neighbor, Mrs. Gable, has a little dog. The dog is very funny. It runs and jumps. It makes me laugh. One day, I decided to bake a cake. I love to bake. Before, I always baked a big cake for my son. He loved my chocolate cake. But a big cake is too much for one person, so I decided to bake a small cake. I got the flour, I got the sugar, I got the eggs and the chocolate. I mixed everything in a big bowl. The kitchen smelled sweet. It smelled like happy days. I baked a small chocolate cake. It was perfect. I cut one small piece for myself. It was delicious, but I still had a lot of cake. What could I do with it? Then I had an idea. I put some pieces of cake on a plate. I covered the plate. I walked to Mr. Henderson's house next door. I knocked on his door. He opened it. He looked surprised. "Hello," I said. "I baked a cake. It is too much for me. Would you like some?" Mr. Henderson smiled a big smile. "That is very kind of you," he said. "Please come in." I went into his house. We sat in his kitchen. We ate chocolate cake and drank tea. He told me stories about his wife. She died many years ago. He was alone too. We talked for a long time. It was nice to talk to someone. When I went home, I felt happy. I was not just a woman alone in a quiet house. I was a neighbor. I was a friend. The quiet house was still quiet, but I was filling it with new things, new routines, new friends, new memories. Sometimes I still miss my son very much. I go into his room. I look at his old things. I touch the blue blanket on his bed. I remember his laugh. I remember the sound of his feet in the house. A little bit of sadness comes back. It is okay to be sad sometimes. It means I love him very much. But then I remember his voice on the telephone. He is happy. He is building his own life. And that is what a mother wants for her son. She wants him to be strong. She wants him to be happy. She wants him to fly away and have his own adventure. So I close the door to his room. I go back to my living room. I sit in my big chair. My cat, Snow, jumps onto my lap. He is soft and warm. I pet him. He purrs. It is a soft, happy sound. I look around my house. It is not an empty house. It is a house full of love. The love for my son is in every room. It is in the kitchen where we ate together. It is in the garden where he played. It is in his old room, waiting for him when he comes to visit. The house is quiet, yes, but it is a calm quiet. It is a peaceful quiet. My son left me alone, but he did not take his love with him. He left it here with me. And my love for him is with him, in his new city, in his new life. The connection is still there. It is not a connection of seeing each other every day. It is a connection of the heart. The sun is going down now. The light outside is soft and orange. Soon it will be night. I will make my dinner. One plate, one fork. I will watch the television. I will read my book. The clock will go tick-tock. My cat will sleep on my lap. Tomorrow the sun will come up. I will wake up and see the empty chair, but I will smile. Because my son is grown, he is happy, and he loves me. And I am here, in my quiet house, with my garden and my friends and my cat, and I am happy too. My son is gone, but my love for my son is always here in this quiet house.